Good afternoon. Welcome to Swangard Stadium here on YouTube, presented by Sports Canada TV in partnership with AFT in Canada for the first match of the League One BC season. Here, Gideon Hill joined alongside Michael McCall for the action between TSS Rovers and the newly branded Nautsa'mawt FC. Very exciting day for this league as well, with a newly branded team in Nautsa'mawt FC joining by Harborside as well for this season. So 8 teams and 2 more games as well to be played in this season. Very exciting as well, as these 2 teams ready to take the pitch. Nautsa'mawt rebranded as mentioned and were varsity last year. They made the finals. We'll get to that throughout the broadcast, and TSS finishing a few points shy of that final last year here at Swangard Stadium in an exciting afternoon. Let's get to the lineups first for the visitors. In goal, Dakota Beckett for Nautsa'mawt FC. She started the final last year for Jesse Simon's team. Danny Mosier, Emma Houghton, along with Sophia Ferrer, Jackie Tyre in the back end. Josie Claypool, along with Sophie Kramer and Jenna Baxter in the midfield. And up front, Jade Taylor-Ryan, Catalin Tolnay, and Vanessa Tomei will cause some havoc for the TSS Rovers backline. That goes as follows. May Hobenshield, the starter between the pipes, with Kirsten Tynan away training with Everton. As well overseas, we have Sophia Ferremo, Taylor Nekic, Shayla Chorney, Angel Strychek, Amanda Scott, Maddie Elcombe, Jessica Fennell, Isabella Mussolini, Nikki Verk, and Shania Dinsa. An exciting day here as the Rovers in the black and the white moving right to left. Nautsa'mawt FC in those beautiful yellow and blue kits moving left to right. And the first game in the history of Nautsa'mawt FC and the first game of the season for TSS is underway here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Kickoff temperatures about 23 degrees here. Feels like a lot warmer in Michael's favorite time of year.
Yeah, on the way in, the car said 28. We always know we go with what my car says, so we're going with that. Give or take 1 or 2 degrees.
Oh, for sure. Really throwing in the far side of the pitch for the Rovers. Jessica Fennell, who didn't have a lot of time last year in the pitch for TSS Rovers, gets that ball back to her own half of center, where it's Shayla Chorney plays it out wide here for the speedy Nikki Verk. Verk, who was on the Unity team last year, whips that one into the box. It's off a boot towards goal, and Dakota Beckett's going to be quick to that one. She'll be the starter this year for Nautsa'mawt as well, with Sarah Johns not taking the pitch for Nautsa'mawt this season. That ball clipped up top, looking for Jade Taylor-Ryan, the speedy forward from Ontario. Knocked out a play there well at the back by Shayla Chorney. Thrown in the near side for the Rovers, and there's Aislinn Strychek. Played away by Shayla Chorney. Verk knocks it back into the middle, and it's back there for Sophia Ferremo, who will try and distribute here for the Rovers. Likes to go back for Jessica Fennell. Houghton now playing as a center back, it looks like, for Nautsa'mawt. Ball drops down, and a chance to attack for TSS. Through for Elcombe, trying to take a strike towards goal. Tyra defended really well, the captain, and she will clear out of her own box there. What a rush by the Rovers early on. They've played through the middle really well so far here. An early free kick for the visitors here in yellow.
One thing that we should also know early on, this is a little bit of a makeshift TSS lineup. Some of the players haven't actually been able to join up with the team yet because of their finishing up their college commitments. So by the time we get to games 3, 4, this is going to be a very different looking TSS Rovers side.
The Rovers. Good pace this one so far as well this afternoon. Unsure how to think about teams in the first game of the season, whether they're going to be able to play their structure or just kind of a makeshift team like Michael mentioned for TSS.
Well, Chelsea Hanneson's been delighted with what she's seen in training from this TSS side. She feels they're really up for it. This is definitely going to be their strongest test, you feel, for the season. An absolutely stacked roster that Nautsa'mawt have put together under Jesse Simons. Big bulk of it players from UBC with some other key additions as well.
Tyre with a physical play in the midfield. Pass Verk, and now plays it out wide for Ferreira. Into the 18, good clearance away there by Taylor Nekic of UFV Cascades. And knocked forward there by Ferremo of the Rovers, back to Dakota Beckett, who normally a backup at the UBC Thunderbirds, was a backup for most of last year's League One BC at varsity under Sarah Johns, and then got the start for the final and held her ground until the second half. It was a crazy comeback by the Whitecaps U19s to win that final as Baxter plays it back across, a little slip and a clearance at the second time of asking. Chance to collect here for Sophia Kramer, and now Tyra, the captain. Ferreira now is joined by her sister on this Nautsa'mawt team, Ava. Hooten, the ball-playing center back, with a beautiful ball clipped over the top for Kramer, but Hobenschiel will just like to let that one go out for a goal kick here through 5 minutes on YouTube here on this Saturday afternoon. Aislinn Strajcik with a nice little clip ball forward. She was excellent last year for the Rovers before departing back to College United States, as a lot of the players did last year for the Rovers. Lost a number of key players towards the end of the season. Nikki Verk now trying to play it back, and just out of the reach there, Mussolini. Jenna Baxter, who scored the first goal of the final about 60 seconds in last year. This very pitch played out of touch into touch there by the Rovers, and a throw in for Sophia Ferreira here.
Hope you're all enjoying the action so far at home. Hope you found the stream okay, because it's a different link than we had put out initially. Some issues getting that one to go live. So if you want to leave some messages for us during the broadcast, you can do so in the live YouTube chat, or get in touch with us on Twitter at AFTN Canada.
First game always a fun one, isn't it? Getting everything to work and go smoothly.
Well, getting the rosters was
tough
enough.
I wasn't going to say it, but okay, there we are. Throwing here for Nautsa'mawt. I have to say, love those jerseys they've come up with in their partnership with EA Sports, and just a crisp kit for both the men's and the women's side.
Yeah, the yellow ones are really smart. I really like the blue goalkeeper jersey as well. It's my favourite of the four.
Hopefully we get to see it for the men's side this afternoon. It's hoping, or Beckett rather, in the pink kit. Tomei, a good chance to attack. Clips it back across for Baxter at a really good position, and a smart play by Ferreira has looked really good so far for Chelsea Hannison's Rovers. Made a couple of key defensive plays, and also had a good chance in the visitors' 18 in the first couple of minutes of this game here, and a good start so far. Corner kick for Nautsa'mawt FC here. Ferreira with the one towards the middle to Taylor Ryan, clipped away well by the Rovers. Tomei now forward on the left side again for, I believe it's Baxter there. Now head for Kramer. Cuts to the byline there, trying to cut it back across. Good move, power move by Kramer, cuts it back across goal. And a promising move by the UBC veteran goes wide to the left of Hobenschild's goal on his 7 minutes. And Scott now a returnee from last year. Good to have that fluidity in the back line for Chelsea Hannison's team. Number of returnees in the starting 11. Joined by some exciting faces. Well, that one's through for Baxter. She's going to have a try towards goal. It's still there. What a save by Hobenschild with the left foot. Keeps that one out. That close to the first goal in Nautsa'mawt FC history, as Jenna Baxter just about put her team ahead.
I really thought that was going over the keeper there. It looked from our angle that it was certainly dipping over her, but a fantastic save to this as well. In this heat, you have to think that is not going to last for the whole 90 minutes. Subs could be a key one in this, and it's a short-handed TSS bench just due to the numbers that they actually have available.
Jessica Fennell now one of a couple of cascades on the back line from University of Fraser Valley. Men's side as well with a number of players from that program. Fennell and Nekic for the women's Rovers.
Yeah, it's proved a very good tie-up for TSS in the last couple of seasons. And good for the Cascades as well to get their players this exposure and this experience as well at the next level.
It's a good position for Baxter to be in, but she lost the ball and it back into the Nautsa'mawt half for Emma Hooten. She'll wisely play it up the pitch, but it just kind of bounced out and rolled back in. And ball stays in play. Fennell will lay it back across. Nice move there.
Nice.
Top of the 18 of Nautsa'mawt is good play by Verk. Elusive play. Might have been a penalty kick as well if she didn't stay on her feet, but it would have been pretty harsh to give against Nautsa'mawt. And an early corner here for the Rovers. 10 minutes gone, their first of the match.
Nice little build-up play there by TSS. You're seeing in the early going the kind of football that Chelsea's wanting to play with this team, the short passing triangles, and it's really coming off so far.
Saw it come to fruition a lot of times last year at how well the goals that they scored last season just well worked. Good team goals. Strychek as well. And Mussolini kind of pulled the strings in midfield. And you really saw when Strychek had to go back to college, kind of did not help this Rovers team. Goal scoring wise, as things kind of dried up towards the end of the season.
Yeah, it is a problem for sides that do have NCAA players. There's a shot coming in. That was a speculative one there. Didn't really fully connect with that.
Shania Dinsa with a good job, good idea to get it onto her left foot, and strike let her down a little bit, but Beckett, her first forced save of the game.
Yeah, as I was mentioning, the teams that do have NCAA players, both on the men's and the women's side, although it did appear to be more on the women's side last year that players were called back into their schools early, and then TSS have had the issues of getting some of them released a little late as well.
This year as well, we'll talk about rosters, how many players have jumped ship to on the men's or the women's side to different teams. A couple going from the Whitecaps to Nautsa'mawt, the Rovers, Nautsa'mawt as well, a couple of those. So interesting to watch how teams have built this year now that they have their eyes on other players to scoop them up. Kramer cuts it back towards Taylor Ryan. We're going to have to climb the ladder to get that one, but we've saw how prolific she could be in Canada West with the UBC Thunderbirds. He on as a second-half substitute in their season. I believe it was a hat-trick as well in the final 15 for Taylor Ryan, a big win for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, I know that Jesse Simons is very high on what Taylor Ryan can be to this UBC side now that Danielle Steer has moved on to pastures new.
Kramer to the outside here. Into the Rovers box, trying to move it down the wing. And good job again to collect there by, I believe it was Nekic, and now Mussolini in a good position for the Rovers.
There's been a couple of slips out there as well. I don't know if the grass is just a little bit wet. Don't know what the weather's been like here the past week. I've been enjoying the sun down the Oregon coast. Oh, a heavy coming together there.
You just said the sun and Oregon coast in the same sentence. Isn't it normally rain down there?
Yeah.
Must be. Oh, the top of the 18, good scoop up there by Danny Mosier, who good to see her back on the 11 for Nautsa'mawt. Didn't get a whole lot of action with the varsity last year. What was it, a very stacked team for Jesse Simons last year in the League One BC.
Even more stacked when you look at it this year. I mentioned Danielle Steer earlier. She is going to be back on this Nautsa'mawt roster once the Liberty A-League season wraps up, which wraps up tonight. If you want to tune in to the grand final, Danielle Steer's Western United taking part in that. A chance for her to lift the championship in her first season down in Australia.
That is a huge coup for Nautsa'mawt, obviously with the UBC connection there, but nice to see her being able to play with some now former teammates after eligibility ceased in Canada West.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be watching this stream
Yes.
as her pre-match prep for the grand final.
Shows you, though, this league, how well it produces players to the next level. Numerous players gone on to professional and overseas. One of the Rovers as well, Bella Roque, and applying her trade overseas. Throwing here for Ferreira to the 6.
League One BC season.
Good to see they've recovered after that fantastic Valor game here a couple of weeks ago.
I think a few are still showing some ill effects.
Glad they got here for the 1:30 kickoff, a little bit earlier than the 4 o'clock one later this afternoon.
I don't think they left from after the game against Valor, to be honest.
Probably paid their rent for this the stadium for the season.
There's a couple just been sleeping under the bleachers over there.
Oregon was your cover story, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Stay here.
My voice has just about come back from it.
Foul there by Tomei. On a Rover on the far side, that was Shayla Chorney. And free kick for Aislinn. Strychek has got that wicked left foot. Saw her score some wonder goals last year with TSS on this pitch. Strychek, a lovely ball towards the 6-yard box, and Beckett is primed there to get to it, but good effort from Strychek. Now Kramer for Nautsa'mawt trying to play it through for Taylor Ryan in space on the right. Good ball from Kramer for Taylor Ryan, but Hovenshield again equal to the task. And for a goalkeeper like Hovenshield kind of thrust into the starting role with Tynan still away training with Everton's women's team. Great to see her making some saves early on here. A Rover through and through.
Nice little flick on there.
Beautifully done by Dinsa.
Numbers just not getting forward though for TSS.
Strychek might bounce for her, but it's picked up there well defensively by, I believe it's Claypool. And Nautsa'mawt will play out of the back. Taylor Ryan one-on-one there with Chorney as it was. Free kick goes to Nautsa'mawt.
TSS looking dangerous as they break forward, but they need to get the numbers up, and obviously it's a lot to ask in these conditions to be tearing up and down the pitch. And we know from these players that we've seen for many a year playing on UBC, you give any of these players an inch and they will bury these chances that they get. So they have to keep solid at the back but try and get numbers forward at the same time. It's a very fine balancing act for Chelsea Hansen's side.
It is also kind of pre-season for a lot of these players as they run into their college or university season. Haven't played for a couple of months if it's the U Sports campaign, which ends usually in November. So still trying to get their feet under them, I'm sure.
I know speaking to Jesse at the start of the last Canada West season, he said how much this had got the players prepared. And speaking to players on the men and women's side as well, just they felt this preparation set them up for really strong college seasons. And we saw it with a number of players throughout the league. They went and had some of their best ever college seasons.
Nikki Verk, one of those who played with the UVic Vikes this past season, with Unity last year, one of those players jumping ship. Uni in action against Harborside today, their inaugural game on the island. Strychek tearing down the left side, battling with Taylor Ryan. And that ball will just go out for a Nautsa'mawt. Well, I thought it was going to be a goal kick given a corner, though. Strychek did really well to kind of accept that play from Taylor Ryan, who's been up and down this right side endlessly here for Nautsa'mawt so far.
Last year with this TSS side, Strychek and Mussolini, they were the two players, two of my favourite midfielders throughout the whole women's division. We're seeing Strychek again sending one in. She's just got that physicality to her. She was clattered early on in a tackle. I've been waiting for a little bit of payback from her. We haven't seen that yet. I feel it's coming.
If you had a crunching tackle on Michael's bingo card, you probably already crossed that one off so far. Yeah, two technically gifted players as well. It's really nice to have that in this league. A lot of players with speed, but to have technicality on not just one but two players in Strychek and Mussolini pays dividends.
I think my favourite story from Strychek from last year was when it was Whitecaps out at Ken Woods, and it looked like she was going off injured, and she came off in front of me, and I said, "Oh, it looks like Strychek's off injured," and she's like, "No, I'm not."
Because we all know you're a doctor, right? So, yeah. Hovenshield will collect here for the Rovers.
I will get my stethoscope out for you at half-time. See how
really held Jessica Fennell to her own very far, or so far, but to Fennell, a deflection in the middle, and Tyra will deal with that one.
Yeah, Danny Mosher's been kind of on the fringes in her 2 years at the Thunderbirds. Only 8 games played so far in her seasons there.
Mussolini in some space and a great play from Elcombe. Still going, and then scooped up the last one by Jenna Baxter, who got to that ball somehow. She's been everywhere so far for Nautsa'mawt.
She's playing a lot deeper than we saw her playing in this team last year.
What a play by Taylor Ryan. Clips over the top for Catalin Tolnai, and that's
ball,
fantastic. But again, a good read by Nekic to clear that one out. And everything that Nautsa'mawt's put the Rovers' way so far, they've had the answer. Have the home side in front of the Swan Guardians. A humid afternoon at Swangard. Referee, by the way, Denzel Sharma. Off the shoulder there of Nekic, right back to Tolnai. Now Vanessa Tomei now. Beautiful turn to the top of the 18. Tomei still going for Nautsa'mawt. She'll have a go. It's knocked down. Baxter will have a second effort. And a left-footed strike over top of Hobenshield's goal, thankfully for the Rovers. But another good flash in the pan there by Nautsa'mawt FC as they try to get their first goal in the new name Nautsa'mawt.
Vanessa Tomei it's a player that we've watched for a number of years out at UBC now. When I was putting the stats together for this, I was surprised she's only got 5 goals and 2 assists. It feels so much more. I think there's a lot of second assists that don't get counted, obviously, in Canada West. Her brother Josh as well on the Nautsa'mawt men's team. May or may not see him in the next game.
Vert, great ball through. It's a lovely one. And Dinsa just couldn't connect on it. It's a tough play to play with the ball bouncing there on the pitch, but what a good idea from Vert Ford. And just out of the reach of Shayla Dinsa, who's been excellent as well for TSS.
She has. Dakota Beckett, a little bit of hesitation there, slow to come out. She didn't know whether to commit to it or not, and then almost a bit of confusion between her and the defender.
Fennell, just rare mistake for her so far in this one. Her team recouped well. Taylor Ryan will step into that errant pass.
I think Chelsea Hannison will be delighted with what she's seen from her team through the first 26 minutes of this one.
Running through the middle there, great ball forward, and it's a chance for Faremo to break through. Faremo just over the bar. What an effort by Sophia Faremo. She's been excellent to say the least so far for TSS. Just whistles that one over the top of the goal as Beckett was primed and ready.
One of the new players on this roster for the Rovers as well, and a nice little tip over though from Beckett. That would have been a dramatic and stunning first goal of the season.
A beautiful goal as well. What a move to get herself in that position, Sophia Faremo. Wearing the number 3 for TSS in the black kits this afternoon. Strychek will prep for that corner on the far side. On that dangerous left foot. Up towards the back of the 18 that drops down for Nekic. She'll leave it there for Chorney. Maybe trying to go for a handball. Another clattering tackle there. Everyone's good to go, and a beautiful turn by Tomei, but a good recovery by Nekic, who went all the way from her own 18 to make sure that did not come to life for Nautsa'mawt on the counterattack. And a foul there, I believe, as Ferreira received a bit of a shove from a Rovers player. Through 27 and a great pace here, no score. A couple of good looks for either side. It's not going to be 0-0 affair, I'll tell you that much, with the way these two teams have gone at each other so far.
I was just thinking, I hope there is a goal in this, because you want the first goal of the season to come in the game that we're doing.
Ball flicked on there by Tolnai and collected by Hobenshield to avoid a goal kick.
I'll go as far as to say I will eat my hat if this ends up goalless, and I quite like this new Rovers hat that I got.
I realize I have no Rovers merch, so I might have to speak to the powers that be about that one. But
well, you should become the media officer as well then, and you'll get all this stuff. It's for all my TV appearances. I kept my one on Global quiet. I didn't let anyone know what was going on.
Did you actually go on
Yeah.
Global? Oh, well.
See, I kept it quiet.
Yeah. It shows you how much I watch the news.
It was on my way to leave down to the Oregon. Stopped in on the studio on the way. Dog in the car. That you want to watch to see how she develops in this league and how she brings that into her second year into Canada West.
Tyre now back across for Emma Hooton. Clips it through for Kramer. Bounces down right in front of the Rovers' Nekic. And a goal kick here for Hobenshield has been pretty busy this afternoon so far. And a Scott now out of the back for the Rovers across there for Nekic. Now Strychek is playing as a defensive midfield and a very difficult ball for her. She'll have to recoup that one back for Hobenshield. It delivers it right to the boots of Taylor Ryan from outside the 18. Taylor Ryan, a beautiful move all the way to goal. Taylor Ryan still off the outside of the goal. And a corner here for Nautsa'mawt.
I did not see any deflection on that, I've got to say.
Looks like it went right to the outside netting there, but if it was just a few inches to the left, it would have been top corner for Taylor Ryan, the prolific goal scorer, as we saw her get herself in a good position there.
Fantastic movement from her to create that chance in the box. 8 goals in 16 appearances so far in her 2 years at UBC.
Goal every 2 games. It's insane for a second-year striker to be scoring that kind of clip.
She's phenomenal. I definitely see her rising to the thing and the big void that Danielle Steer has left in that team.
Back across off the crossbar. Ferreira got her head to it. That close again at for Nautsa'mawt is hoping she'll watch that one bounce off the crossbar to play.
And as we know so well with Sofia Ferreira, she is just deadly at these set pieces. Whether she's taking them and sending the ball in, she takes a lot of the free kicks, or just getting on the end of it in the box. She's another player that I always say when we're doing the UBC games, 2 years she's been a Thunderbird. And she plays like a player that's been in her 4th or 5th year or even older. She's just got that confidence and that skill set.
That's 8 goals and 16 appearances as a substitute nonetheless. She hasn't started a whole lot for Jessie Simon's team because of Steer, the number 9 position. Nekic will play that one away out of Tomei's reach.
Ferreira as a centre-back as well, 12 assists. And that's because of her propensity for taking a lot of the set pieces for UBC.
Yeah, we say right back. And that one off the crossbar. What a strike from outside the 18.
Flag is up, though.
2 crossbars so far for Nautsa'mawt in about 3 minutes here. And it remains scoreless.
Nautsa'mawt turning up the pressure as we get into the last quarter an hour of this first half. TSS living dangerously at the back. They need to get the ball out of their final third as much as possible.
I feel like Strychek might want to push forward here as well. She's playing as a defensive mid, but as the game goes on, there's been some pockets for the Rovers to try and penetrate here. Beautiful ball from Strychek now for Nikki Verk, who's combined well in this near wing.
Remember, if you're watching this live in the stream, get in touch with us on the YouTube chat. If you've got any questions about either of these teams or just want to chat about the League One BC season, we're excited to see it back. Expanded format in the playoffs as well this year.
Thumping tackle and a perfect one of that by Nekic. She's been excellent in those pink boots on the far side there. As Baxter slow to her feet, but that was a perfect tackle there by Nekic, the UFE Cascade.
There's a few players on this Rover side that are not afraid to go in with the tackles.
Baxter now been the most dangerous player for Nautsa'mawt. Running-wise, attacking-wise, as that ball drops down in a wise play there by Nekic to get that one clear, but pouncing on that one was Catalin Tolne to try and get something towards goal for Nautsa'mawt FC, but Hobenschiel will deliver the ball for the Rovers on this goal kick here.
Nautsa'mawt warming their subs up. Be surprised if we see anything before half-time, I've got to say.
We did see that a bit last year in League One BC, players coming off before half-time.
I think with the way that the heat is out there, though, you want to try and get what you can out of the players. And heading off to the men's A-Cup final after the men's TSS game today. Of course, the Whitecaps, that other little team, they're playing today.
Vancouver FC was playing as well against Halifax Wanderers in the island. It was, across Canada there. It was 1-1 about the 60th minute.
It was 1-1 when I left in the 80th minute, so let's have a look to see how that one finished. Interesting game.
Yeah, Shan Hundal scoring for Vancouver FC, his second goal in as many games.
And it did finish 1-1.
Coming home with 4 points.
Getting the goal for Halifax as well, was very high on him for WFC2 last year. And disappointed that he left the Whitecaps fold, but doing well with Halifax.
We're talking of CPL as well. The Rovers in Pacific in a week and a half's time, May 10th at Starlight Stadium in the island.
Make sure you get your tickets for that. Go to tss.ca/tickets. A special deal as well on the card for that Pacific. Donating $5 from every ticket sale from that link back to TSS Rovers. Very generous off the island side.
Speaking of generous, it's really nice of you to take me with you, Michael. I'm really excited for that. So AFTN sponsored trip.
Well, we'll see what we can do. I do have a spare suitcase. You can squeeze in that.
Squeeze in that one. You can take the dog over me. That's fine. I'll allow it.
You probably move about less in bed than she does. So.
Mussolini just out of her reach there, and a throw in for Sofia Ferreira.
TSS feel like they've maybe tired a little bit in the last few minutes. The energy level's not what they were at the start of the game.
But to be fair, the first 30 minutes here for their season, fantastic against probably one of the top teams in this League One BC women's section. That and Whitecaps FC U19s, returning a lot of players from last year. And some also jumping ship to Nautsa'mawt, like Olivia Ahern and Andrea Kreitzer, who are still finishing up their college seasons.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned TSS are without some of their NCAA players. It has to be said, Nautsa'mawt are as well.
Mia Pante, another one of those players that still finishing up her season for Nautsa'mawt. She was a Rover last year, by the way.
With TSS last year.
Whipped in towards the middle and away. Holly Ward as well. So how many players? I count on a couple of hands how many they're missing here. But it's Dinsa the other way for the Rovers. A couple of looks for the home side trying to switch the play there.
Nice.
And still able to croup that ball as Strycek all the way through on a clattering tackle there. Strycek down in some serious discomfort for TSS as play resumes. Nautsa'mawt the other way. 3 Rovers players trying to help Strycek to her feet. And that did not look comfortable for one of the TSS main players.
To me, that was a fair tackle, though. It was a 50-50 ball.
37 minutes gone, but good to see Strycek's on her feet. It's the second tackle she's had in this first half. She had about 10 minutes gone there as she slowed to her feet, but able to kind of hobble that one off, maybe.
I mean, I understand the concern for your teammate as well, but you can't have 3 players trying to pick her up when Nautsa'mawt are on the attack there.
Tolnai, top of the 18, Catalan. Tolnai! Ooh, just wide of the top left corner of Hobenschild's goal. You feel it coming right now for Nautsa'mawt with 8 minutes to go till halftime. And they've been really good on the ball the last 10 minutes or so, and beyond that, to be fair. TSS just trying to get to halftime, maybe make some subs as well if they can.
TSS have done a good job, though, of shutting down the dangerous duo of Baxter and Tolnai.
Rovers just 4 outfield subs this afternoon. Maddie Ma, Isabella Pachani, Brenna Founderson, and Haley Issel.
It's a chance now for TSS on the break. They have got numbers up this time.
Dinsa, a nice move to the outside. Flicked on here from Mussolini, just a bit too far ahead of her in there. And quiet first half for Mussolini. Have to say she's normally a attacking midfielder playing out wide on this left side here against a very difficult Sofia Ferreira, an adaptable Ferreira as well. She could even play center mid if you want her to, the way she's able to distribute the ball.
You're really interested to see where Sofia Ferreira's career takes her. Getting these looks with the Portuguese under-23 team is certainly going to open up some opportunities for her overseas. Interesting, she's been involved with Portugal, Kat Tolnai involved with Hungary. You're going to have some Canadian under-20 players coming back to join this team as well. In many ways, although TSS are short-handed for this game, getting this one out of the way, if they can get anything from this, is going to set them up superbly for the cost you a couple of times, and some good defensive play and a couple of saves as well. Let's see what this second half brings. Seems to be a little bit of a wind out there, which I'm sure the players are going to really appreciate.
2 crossbars in 3 minutes at the end of the first half for Nautsa'mawt's women's side, and one of them coming from Jenna Baxter, who was excellent. Sophia Kramer back to her own half for Jackie Tyrer. Forward for Josie Claypool. It's going to roll there for Hobenshield, who is excellent. Made that wonderful left leg save on Baxter. Just about put Nautsa'mawt ahead.
So apologies, I believe there's some issues on the stream. It looks like the internet has been coming and going here at Swangard. So initially we had turned the video quality down a little bit. Now we are streaming from cellular. So fingers crossed that everything is going to be good for this second half. As always, if you want to get in touch with us during the game, you can leave a message in the YouTube chat or get in touch on AFTN Canada on Twitter. If you want to chat about either of these teams, any of the players, give a shout out to any of the players, chat about the League One BC season, or just the exciting developments in League One Canada, we're always happy to have those chats during the broadcasts.
Taylor Nekic was a force to be reckoned with in that first half for the Rovers, as nullified numerous attacks by the Nautsa'mawt front line. And Mosier, a poor turnover there, tracked down by Shania Dinsa. Now Danny Mosier back to her own keeper, Dakota Beckett now. Pressured quickly by Verk, had to deal with that one on a bouncing ball. Now Shania Dinsa had a chance to collect in midfield. Right though to Kramer.
Spoke in the first half about how much this heat might play into the rest of this game, how much tiredness might factor in.
Baxter on the way through. What a beautiful
tackle.
Nekic again. Stellar.
Oh, player of the game for me so far. Certainly in a black shirt.
And this is the times when those kind of players want to stake their claim in the starting 11, with, as mentioned, Corey and Rozosa Dolasal coming back from college to take part in this season for the Rovers. But Nekic doesn't want to be the odd player out when those two come back. Ball beautifully whipped in towards the back stick. Over Tyre, might drop down for Claypool. Ferreira has a half volley in behind Hobenshield and remains scoreless here. Good crowd on hand here, and the people still filing in for this second half. First half as well got pretty busy right before kickoff.
Exciting doubleheader in store this afternoon. 2 historic matches for Nautsa'mawt FC, kicking off their first season in this rebrand. And so much work done by the club in this off-season, rebranding this, the Hope and Health initiative that they've got, and the support that they've got from some amazing sponsors as well, but also the initiatives that they're doing off the pitch as well to help Indigenous youth and the Indigenous community. Oh, nice little flick on there, but just a little bit too heavy a touch, and it's going to run through to Dakota Beckett.
Yeah, that was Verk with a good idea to try and nick it through and go for a run, a speedy player. Throwing now for Jessica Fennell for TSS on the far side, and the Rovers in the black and white kits, moving from left to right. Nautsa'mawt in those sharp new uniforms right to left in the yellow and blue. Nekic now back just outside her 18 for Hobenshield. Shorney there has to be careful as Tomei draped all over her. And to help out was Kramer. A good clearance there by the Rovers for Remo. And a corner kick for Vanessa Tomei on this near side for Nautsa'mawt. Chance for Nautsa'mawt to take the lead here on 51 minutes, looking for their inaugural goal in the rebrand. Tomei whips it in, back post, and it was just out of the reach of Kramer. Is going to try and hold it in. She can't. And a goal kick coming up for Hobenshield, number for her this afternoon. Distribution really good from May Hobenschild. Taylor Ryan attacking there. Amanda Scott out of play. A corner coming up for Nautsa'mawt. No changes for either team here at the half. Have to applaud the Rovers there for their efforts so far.
Yeah, you have to feel once it gets to about the hour mark, you might see some of these changes coming. Nautsa'mawt have a much bigger bench than TSS for today, and just having a look down at both benches just now, certainly looks to be some activity on both of them.
Corner kick here coming up. It's a good one from Hooten towards Tyre. Might drop down for Kramer. Grabbed by Hobenschild. And that would have been a good effort from Nautsa'mawt off the corner, but a good save by Hobenschild again. Zeppa went off the hand of Shania Dinsa.
That one certainly could have gone anywhere. It just was looping. It looked when she first connected it was going to fly over, and then just seemed to hold up and just drop down right into the arms of the keeper.
Just out of Dinsa's reach there, and that'll be Danny Mosier for Nautsa'mawt to take the throw.
Hobenschild certainly been the busier of the two keepers so far this afternoon. And a bit of confidence there from her as well.
Flicked on there, forward by Shania Dinsa, knocked forward by Hooten. Now Baxter.
Rovers struggling to get their foot on the ball in this half and get much going in attack as Baxter sends a speculative long-range one in there. Rovers just not really able to get out of their half so far though, Gideon. It's been very high press and heavy pressure from Nautsa'mawt to start this second half. You feel Jesse Simons has told his team to kind of just go and raise the intensity levels a little bit.
Dinsa, nice flick on it. Beautiful ball out wide here, and it's a chance attack for Isabella Mussolini.
They've got 4 players forward as well as Mussolini here.
Top of the 18, Mussolini has a speculative left-footed strike just wide of the goal. Wide to the right of Dakota Beckett. Wasn't tested a whole lot in the first half. As Ferreira taken out there by Stryczek and a foul. Free kick here for Nautsa'mawt just inside the Rovers' half. Jackie Tyre to take the free kick here. Tyre's a good delivery on her right foot. The captain this afternoon for Nautsa'mawt. A beautiful ball as well. Bounces towards Tomei. Grabbed by Hobenschild. Burke receives a yellow just then for the Rovers. Number 21 for TSS, a Unity player of last year, League 1 BC. Be a throw in here for Danny Mosier of Nautsa'mawt. Little conversation there with assistant coach of Nautsa'mawt, Nicole Setterlund. As a substitution here for Nautsa'mawt, Jade Taylor Ryan's day for Nautsa'mawt is come to an end. She was excellent for Jesse Simons' team. It looks like in comes number 24, Shea Rizol. Good afternoon for Taylor Ryan. And kind of taken out of the action of the start of the second half here. That ball played out wide for Verk. Just got that yellow, but wanted to make up for that with the goal. Maybe for Chelsea Hannison's side. Verk with speed, watched by Tyrer. Trying to get into the middle on her right boot. Might drop down for still. Nikki Verk and a left foot back across goal for Dinsa, who is sitting in the 6-yard box there. Drops down again. Another strike towards goal be held easily by Beckett. Positive move forward by the Rovers side on the counterattack there.
That was great hustle there from Nikki Verk. Such a pleasure to watch when she just tears forward like that. And I think this is the Rovers' best chance of getting anything from this game, is to try and hit on these quick counters. They've certainly got the players that's shown that they can test this Nautsa'mawt defence.
Baxter taking on her number 11, Amanda Scott, onto the right boot, and a really well defended Amanda Scott. Hasn't had a lot of action here for her to play on the ball, Scott, but when she's been asked to defend, she has done it expertly well for the Rovers.
Baxter playing in a more advanced role as well in this half.
Corner kick for Emma Hooton, which Michael mentioned the counterattack might be key for the Rovers. Hooton's their center back, so only Denny Mosier back right now, watched closely by Shania Dinsa there.
Yeah, if the Rovers can nick this one away, but we've seen how dangerous Nautsa'mawt are and Varsity and UBC at these set pieces.
Back towards the 6. Up there is Tyrer, knocks it down. It's at the half volley. Another chance for Tyrer. And Scott is there. Ball still on the deck and picked up and cleared bravely by TSS.
Fantastic defensive play there from TSS. Holding firm. Nothing was getting past that big black wall back there.
The good thing for the Rovers so far, there hasn't been a lot of clean shots for Nautsa'mawt.
No, I mean, I'm saying that May Hobenshield's been the busiest keeper, but even with that, it's like there's not been... Oh, break off here as Vert comes forward. Oh, and she just doesn't bring the ball with her. But the referee's bringing it back.
Very good position here for the Rovers, and I think the touch there for Vert misled her. She kind of got her foot over the ball and then slid, unfortunately.
Yellow card as well for Jacqueline Tyler. It's the first one of the afternoon. I think, anyway. Don't think there's been another.
Yes, Verk had one for TSS,
oh,
so
yes.
Second overall. Tough one for Tyra, who's been really astute defensively, not just for Nautsa'mawt, but varsity last year, and the UBC Thunderbirds in her time there. It's a free kick coming up for TSS in a good position, about 25 yards out from goal. And it looks like Strychek is stepping up here on her left foot. Mussolini with some space to her right. Nekic there as well.
Yeah, Nekic is showing some good movement in the box there. If they can chip this one in, she's got a free run towards goal as well.
Strychek beautifully chip ball. Mussolini headed down. Nekic, another chance for Verk. Still drops down for Nekic. Back to the top of the 18. Another effort there by TSS from distance. Goes wide to the left.
Certainly more like it there from TSS.
As Maddie Mall, the substitute most recently for TSS, had that shot go wide. Ma actually here taking pictures of the Valor Rovers game a couple of weeks ago. Some nice shots in that game there for the Rovers' historic win over Valor.
Yeah, she's also been doing the social media for them, so it might go quiet for the next little while on Twitter and on Instagram.
A bit of an excuse, though. I mean, she is playing, so that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, Maddie has done so much on the pitch and off the field for TSS. She was helping me do the accreditations for the Valor game as well. I did the writing, she did the stuffing into the plastic thing. Looking at my writing, we maybe should have done this the other way around.
Well, I'm glad I was involved in that because we all know how good my writing is. So.
Well, I know how much you love my writing and all my notes.
Strychek now on this near side of the pitch, trying to move to the middle. Lays it through there and a chance to attack for TSS. Now want to hit Tyrer on the side and bounces right to Beckett there. A shot by Maddie Elcombe, who's been quiet in the last little bit for the Rovers. Nautsa'mawt holding a lot of possession here. In the 60th minute, no score. Amanda Scott back to collect there for TSS just to the top of her own box, and it will timely play it back for May Hobenshield. Now Sophia Ferrema was dropped back into a center back role here. Strychek tried to pull it back, and now it's turned over. Here's Baxter for Nautsa'mawt in a good position for the visitors. Baxter keeps going to the top of the 18, and good little move there by Ferrema to nudge Baxter off the ball as a Rovers player slow to her feet there at the top of the 18. Looks like Jessica Fennell will be able to get up and walk away from that one. Free kick here for the Rovers from top of their own 18. It'll be Hobenshield with the take.
This is good for TSS to kind of calm it down a little bit, because it has been quite intense pressure to start things off in this half from Nautsa'mawt. TSS, though, certainly holding their own in the last 5 minutes. It's one of these chess match games. It's who has got the breakthrough.
We know Chelsea Hannison, a brilliant young football mind as well, the way she's able to kind of read these games and make substitutes necessary. And maybe not as much as the Rovers would like on the bench side of things for scoring-wise, but tactically very sound as this Rovers team so far.
Yeah, we saw her just doing some tactics on the bench there, looking to see how they can change things up. She's going to have watched the first 10 minutes of this half, and no, it hasn't been going the way that she wants it. You can't be under this much pressure from this Nautsa'mawt team and expect to hold out goalless to the end of the match. So she has to get something to take the pressure off and get some offensive spark going, and we have kind of seen that in the last couple of minutes now. Best form of attack. Best form of defence is attack. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mussolini, nice touch off the shoulder, working out in this near side. Trying to turn there was Elcombe, and a good reach by Shania Dinsa. Mussolini now top of the 18, moving to the middle. Isabella Mussolini in the left foot, right at Beckett there. That move just took the sting out of the shot, though.
Yeah, not a lot of power in that one, but Mussolini's been much more involved in this half. We had said she'd been a little bit quiet in the first 45. We know what a great talent she is. We saw it last year. We've seen it with SFU.
Good touch there by Strychek. More advanced and creating some more headaches for the Nautsa'mawt backline here in the last few minutes. Strychek lays it through. Beautiful ball for Shania Dinsa. Dinsa cuts it back across. A lot of power on that one. Might drop down for Verk. Nikki Verk now lays it off. And Fennell with perspective effort towards goal. Why not on the one-timer? But in behind the goal of Dakota Beckett there, and it remains scoreless on 63 minutes here.
Watching Verk out there, it's flashbacks to Bella Rock from last year. Just the size and the skill and the pace.
Stella Downing as well comes to mind when speaking of that.
Oh, yes, because when she came on in some of the matches as well, she was phenomenal last year. Been very impressed with Verk so far. A number of this TSS players have certainly impressed me.
Shania Dinsa with a beautiful touch over the head of Mosier, and away she comes for TSS. Dinsa still going all the way through. Shania Dinsa back across goal. It might drop down, and Beckett makes the save as it was struck by Elcombe right at Beckett. But what a move there by TSS on 64 minutes.
Did everything right, just the power was not there at the end of that. It's been a couple of shots on goal, but just no power to it. It's just been some really weak shots there. Maybe need to do a little bit more leg work in the gym.
Kramer now. Toll knife through for Baxter, and a very good read by Sofia Ferremo.
Game's certainly opened up now, as we're going to get a substitution coming up here for Nautsa'mawt. Sophia Peckinpah coming on. And it looks like is that
Danny Mosier coming off.
Wonder if Jesse feels that Danny's been getting a little bit burned out there.
I looked at the name for Sophia Peckinpah, and I thought maybe it was related to Emma.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well, but it seems maybe spelt different.
Ball clipped in towards Baxter! Stopped by Hobenshield.
That was another one of those balls that from our angle, it was just like floating in the air, and we had no idea where that one was going. Thankfully, Hobenshield did, and it was straight into her arms.
Well, I'm not going to assume about the sibling thing, because I thought Jonah and Molly Corey were siblings, but they're actually cousins.
Yep,
so.
we've been there before.
I'll stay out of this conversation for that matter.
When I was doing the Nationals last year, I went, oh, they must be brothers, and then I looked and I was like, but they're born 3 months apart, so I guess they probably aren't.
Oh, man.
But yeah, Sophia Peckinpah can play fullback, midfield, winger, came through the Coquitlam Metro Forward system. Did see some time with varsity last year, just some brief minutes she came on.
I think there was a foul there, ball went out of play, and there will be a throw-in for Sophia Ferrer on the touchline there. Game dropping into a bit of a lull here at Swangard as the heat, I'm sure, playing a factor.
Yeah, I mean, the first 15 minutes of this half, certainly the intensity levels were there as it was in the first. And we saw that little dip, and then it kind of picked up a little bit again towards the end. TSS, though, did look physically tired towards the end of that first half. Come out with renewed energy for the second, but you have to feel Chelsea Hannison is going to maybe have to go to her bench again. Just the one sub so far for her. That is Maddie Ma.
Well, you mentioned a chess match. It very much feels that way right now as Peckinpah back to the middle. Wide open as Tomei might fall there. Vanessa Tomei for Nautsa'mawt. Nice little step and move, but Nekic again equal to the task.
Fantastic stuff again there
and
from Nekic, and winning the free kick in the process.
Silly foul to give away there if you're Vanessa Tomei after a good idea, a good position to get herself in, but just trying to make a maybe move too many and a foul there.
You'll have maybe too many bits of paper.
You think? How many trees were slain in the making of Michael's notes?
I just like all my notes.
At least they're typed. I'll give you that. At least they're
yes.
typed.
Well, most.
I wasn't going to go there. Turnover there by Hobenshield. Tomei from a ways out for Nautsa'mawt. And a very good step in there by Ferramo. Her and Nekic have been sensational this afternoon.
Been really good.
Mussolini?
Ferramo had to get the foot in there as well. Mussolini powering forward again. She's so hard to get off the ball. Little touch inside to Strychek. Plays that forward. It's just going to run out there.
And a free kick there after Mussolini was clattered behind the play.
A couple of times the referee's given the advantage, seen it hasn't come off for TSS and called the play back. I've liked that.
Shania Dins has seen her last action of the afternoon for the Rovers as she'll come off. And in comes Hailey Issel, looks like, the number 10. Correction, Isabella Picani, my apologies. There's 2 10s listed on the roster.
Yeah.
So. I was looking at Nautsa'mawt's roster. There was 2 number 3s and 2 number 15s as well online. So
yes, I noticed that as well.
Putting me through a loop.
Well, the TSS men's has had a couple of little changes as well.
Oh, now you tell me. Okay, good.
Well, we've got time between the games to fill you in.
Forgot my wet out today. Beckett will collect here, and I'm sure she'll want to force the issue for her side. Jesse Simons loves to have goals for his side, so I'm sure he'll want to push them forward here the next 20 minutes or so.
I mean, 3/4 of the way through this now, and this has just been a fantastic showing from TSS. If you're just tuning in, you may have missed earlier on, they're underhanded here as chance here. Lovely cut back.
Verk again, lively for Chelsea Hannison's team. What a pickup that has been. A lot of under-the-wire pickups for the Rovers in this offseason. Verk, one of them, grouping them from Unity.
In the build-up to this game, TSS, it's like wondering who they were going to have available to play in this game. I thought Chelsea might have to put on the boots and go out there.
Well, we do have a player coach this year. Get to that moment. It's Mussolini just pulls that one wide.
Does not miss by much.
Beckett let it go, but it just flashes wide to her left post. As Francesco Bartolillo, the men's Highlanders, a player coach this year, and I wonder if that could be a factor for the Highlanders, and, well, might as well come onto the pitch instead of coach.
Chelsea Hannison does play in MWSL with Surrey United. I've seen her take part in the men's training as well. Mainly when I've been grabbing folk off to do interviews, and she's had to go on to fill in.
Well, roll kindly there for Ferramo.
Then we can say Chelsea Hannison can do almost everything except befriend my dog, because my dog just sat with her back to Chelsea when Chelsea was trying to say hi. She tried her best.
It's a bit rough around the edges, so.
Hey.
Tolnai from distance for Nautsa'mawt. the top of the 18. She can change a game, and she does! A perfect strike from Catalin Tolnai. The inaugural goal for under Nautsa'mawt FC. And Tolnai, a picture-perfect strike from just outside the 18, gives Jesse Simon's team the lead on 71 minutes from Swangard.
History in the making there for Nautsa'mawt. Kat Tolnai getting the goal, continuing her fantastic form that she showed in League One last year and then carried into the Canada West season as well. And what a strike that was from distance. Nothing at all May Hobenshield could do about that. First goal for Nautsa'mawt FC. First goal in the 2023 League One BC season. And it goes to one of last year's star performers, Kat Tolnai.
Took a deflection as well on the way through as Baxter's afternoon is over. I wonder if that was a contingency plan for Jesse Simons if they did get the lead to pull her off the pitch. It looks like Bailey Dirks, the number 25, coming in, and a sub as well as Taylor Nekic makes way for the Rovers. And in comes Haley Istel, the number 15.
We talked a little bit in the first half just about how a lot of the women that's played in League One last year went on to have absolutely fantastic college seasons. Kat Tolnai, one of those players. She'd been there or thereabout with UBC and got a few goals here and there. Last year, though, 17 goals and 9 assists she got. And that came from the season that she had here. 8 goals to her name for varsity, and then just has built on that in Canada West and continuing her goal-scoring form.
One of those players you thought, like Steer, would earn a professional contract as well.
She's had interest, and she has technically graduated from UBC, but she has got some courses that she can do. So it looks like she is coming back for one more year. Would not be surprised to see her come back for that year and then explore some of the pro levels. The fact that you've got the Hungarian national team showing interest in her, she's such a catalyst for the teams that she's played on in the last 2 years. And I didn't mean that as a pun, as Gareen gives me a look.
Sophie Damien as well, that boat, her 4th year just finished, and she is able to pursue as well a 5th year at UBC.
Yep, delighted to see her back.
Tomei on the near side for Nautsa'mawt will keep this ball in. Kramer back to Tomei, nice control. It looks like it hit the hand there.
See the confidence now as well from Nautsa'mawt. They've got that goal. They're just moving the ball about really free flow. And what do TSS have? I mean, they've put so much into it. They've put in such a solid defensive effort. You could almost feel their hearts sink as that shot came off from Kat Tolnai. It felt it was going to take something spectacular to open this game up, and it certainly did.
I'd love to see the stats on how many Jesse Simons teams get goals after their first goal within the next 2 or 3 minutes rather. It happens a lot with teams coached by Jesse Simons, and how quickly the tides have turned here on the Rovers. Is there was a lot of flashes offensively, but Nautsa'mawt with a moment of quality from Kat Tolnai, their first goal in Nautsa'mawt FC history as well. Sturkson knocks it back for Josie Claypool. Claypool clips it in. There's a flick on by Tolnai, who's smelling blood in the water here. Wants another on 74 minutes.
Quite a quiet game from Claypool. We haven't really mentioned her name very much.
That's kind of her game, though. She doesn't play a whole flashy style. But
she's solid. She does the dirty work.
Her and Kramer have really formed a good partnership in midfield this afternoon for Nautsa'mawt. I'm sure will throughout the season. The chemistry is something to watch for this Nautsa'mawt team. Little moments for the Rovers to kind of see why these players don't play together during the university season, but Nautsa'mawt really turning the meat grinder, so to speak, really well.
Yeah, I mean, that is the big advantage Nautsa'mawt's got, and some of the other teams like Unity as well, is you've got a core that play together for months of the year. In the winter season, a nice little shove in the back there. That did not go down well.
Ferreira's actually switched to this left-back role here for varsity.
Oh,
dangerous
nearly
move.
cut out there.
Jackie Tyre thought, why not take the space, and it
closed down so quickly by Verk.
95% of the time that move pulls off, but if it doesn't, it goes quickly wrong, very fast. Ferreira now back from Tyre, has to be quick there as Quick move forward by Pachani. One thing you notice about this Rovers team, they're not a lot of height, but they have a lot of pace on the outside wings. Very versatile as well for Chelsea Hennison's team. Claypool ahead now. Kramer, beautiful move out from her own half. Plays it ahead. Here's a chance for Sofia Ferreira on the half volley. Wide of Hobenshields' goal there. Good move from Sofia Ferreira. On to 76 minutes here from Swangard. Nautsa'mawt getting the opener on the 71st minute from Catalin Tolnai. A perfect strike from just outside the 18 on her left foot nonetheless. Beating May Hobenschield on her left side as well, just in front of her post. That's the difference so far between these two. Took 70 minutes to get the breakthrough, and it's been all Nautsa'mawt for the last 5 minutes here at Swangard. Suits are now back for Jackie Tyrer.
Well, we've enjoyed this first game in a doubleheader this afternoon between Nautsa'mawt and TSS Rovers, the men's game, kicking off at 4 o'clock.
There's a chance and a shot there. Is a brilliant move forward on the right wing side by Shyla Razul, the sub. Been quiet since coming on for Jade Taylor-Ryan, but made a name for herself there in that beautiful run.
Shyla Razul, one of the youngest players on this Nautsa'mawt side, committed to New Mexico State University as well. She'll be joining after this season, so this will be fantastic to get her up to speed for NCAA. A player that in the FTF rankings, which Gary and myself have both done a commentary for some of their combines and stuff over the years, ranked 5th throughout Canada in the 2023 girls rankings was Shyla Razul.
This might drop down. Vanessa Tomei pulls it wide. It was deflected. I thought it was anyways, but missed strike there from Vanessa Tomei. Just sat perfectly for the top of the six.
You thought she was going to bury that, and I'm sure she thought that she was going to bury that as well.
I'm sure Razul, who's just 18, will take pride in that, because that is a lot of talent across Canada.
Yeah.
That to take part in that, not just for players at the college level just before that, but also how many staff and staff are scouting those kind of events. It is a couple of days long, and long days as well with how many games you have to play. But wow, it's good to see Razul collecting that 5th overall ranking, as Verk wanted a foul, won't get it. Fennel now as the Rovers trying to flip the script here, but right as I say that, it's collected by Razul, and away come Nautsa'mawt FC. Razul, a lovely ball to the feet of Tolnai, collected there by Ferremo.
We talked about Jesse Simon's stacked roster. I mean, you can always call him like a player collector. He's collecting the top talent.
Tomei now keeping her stride. Vanessa Tomei struck Scott in the back, and offside there was Tolnai. Play will resume as the Rovers have possession.
Referees just playing on. Assistant referees determined to keep that flag up.
I was going to say, arm might get sore over there. Mosley News now switched to a right back role for the Rovers. Plays it down the flank for Strajcek, who's been taken out of this game. Kind of once she switched to the right mid role for Chelsea Hennison's team, she's been nullified really well by the Nautsa'mawt backline. Full credit to the visitors here.
Yeah.
How many clean sheets will they have this season? We'll have to be keeping track of that for sure.
Oh, it was 8 from their 12 games last year.
And I can't remember how many
off
it was
the top
for
of my head.
UBC. I think it was about 10 or 11 as well. So,
I mean, Jesse Simon's teams for years have been built on a very solid defensive footing with some star attacking talent in. And even this year, like Danielle Steers moved on, but you're adding a very talented player who's a central midfielder and a forward in Bailey Dirksen. She was actually ranked 4th throughout Canada in the FTF rankings.
What a move from Nikki Verk. Has a strike blocked well by Tyrer. They say it's a handball, though. It's a free kick for the Rovers and a gift
here
on
we
80
go.
minutes.
Let's see who do you fancy for this. I'm thinking it's going to be Strajcek that's going to step up for this.
Mussolini has some technical ability. Verk as well has the ball, but one thing about Strajcek in this position, it doesn't favor her the angle-wise because of the left foot. She's kind of creeping to the top of the 18 there. She might even take it on her right the way she's lining up for it. Oh, she's going to turn back to her left. A 3-person wall for Nautsa'mawt.
I mean, depending how Dakota Beckett lines up for this, a nice left-footed strike can certainly curl this into the postage stamp corner. And there's definitely room there if Strycek can get this one up and over the wall. And she does, and it doesn't miss by much.
Wow, there's some power behind that one from Aislinn Strycek.
Just needed to be a little bit further out for that. Just didn't get the dip on it that she was needing.
A returnee from last year. Not one of the originally announced players for Chelsea Henderson's team as they add players throughout, but she was quality last year in the number 9 kit. Keeps that this year. Her Mussolini linked up well earlier in this game, but since a couple of subs Mussolini has mentioned, moved to the right back role.
Yeah, I was delighted to find out that she was back on the team.
Tomei accepts the ball well and this near touchline. Ferreira, nice move. Top of the 18, Sofia Ferreira has a shot. We've seen her score from there, but this one well wide of the goal on the far side.
Very far advanced. Sofia Ferreira is getting, as we are getting another sub coming on. Amber Wells coming on.
Looks like Kramer making way for Nautsa'mawt.
And Amber Wells, fascinating story with her as well. She's come to Nautsa'mawt from Kitwanga Wildcats. Played since she was 4 years old. Played with her sister at the World Indigenous Games and the North American Indigenous Games as well.
Razul on the outside keeps it going. And that ball will go just over Hopenschild's goal there. Kind of a weird one as well. Hard to tell with the angle, but it goes off the netting on the top of the goal. But one thing you notice about, you just mentioned Ferreira pushes forward. It doesn't leave Nautsa'mawt too open to the back either. You don't notice a dip in spacing. Is how
but
compact
then they are
they
so used to playing 3 at the back with UBC as well that I think they can really kind of accommodate that.
Strycek gets past Wells in a good position here for the Rovers. Strycek still going. Lays it through for Nikki Burke. She might have a chance, and it's stopped by Beckett, who came out well and made the save. But that's the quality of Aislinn Strycek we've been preaching about all game, Michael.
Yeah, that just a slightly too heavy touch there from Work, but Strycek just left Wells there and just bore forward. And this is more like it. TSS again turning up the pressure. They seem to be doing it in phases. It'll be interesting to speak to Chelsea afterwards if that was kind of the plan with the Heat, to kind of have these attacking bursts and attacking phases. But they have to go for it now to try and get something out of this. And if they can come away with a point at the end of this one, that would be an absolutely fantastic start to the season. I mean, hopefully it doesn't finish 1-0 from a TSS point of view, but if it does, that's still a good performance for a very short-handed TSS side.
Eddie Elcombe on the outside plays it back into the middle. Not only is 1-0 deficit good for TSS, I mean, obviously they want to be on the other side of it, but goal differential is huge in these standings come the end of the year as well, given how tight it was last year. 4 points separating second and fourth.
On the women's side, you just have to make sure you're top 4 at the end of the year. It's not, to be so short-handed at the start of the season is not necessarily a killer, especially when you're going up against probably the strongest team in the league, because you know that top 4 place, you've still got a chance of lifting the championship. It's different on the men's side, where you've still got the top 4, you can still win the championship, but you have to finish top of the regular season standings on the men's side to qualify for next year's Canadian Championship. There's also the inter-provincial championships that will be taking place, the second ever one on the women's side and the first ever one on the men's side. They will be taking place in BC in August. TSS are the hosting club for that. It was Laval last year.
Tyra nudged off the ball there by Nikki Verk. Back for Hooten. It's going to roll past her here on the near side. And a throw-in coming out for the Rovers. So they're about to make a sub as well.
And it's Brenda Fonderson that is coming on.
Fonderson, a University of Toronto alumni. Late signing for Chelsea Henderson's team. As you mentioned, it's not the worst thing to have missing your top players at this time of the year, but if you can really build on results early in the year and you add players throughout the year, so important. As a sub for TSS Founderson in for Nikki Verk, who put in an absolute shift this afternoon for Hanneson's team.
A little surprised by that, unless she's not got much left in the tank. But, I mean, she looked like she did. She's somebody that I would want to keep on for these last 5 minutes.
Unless you see something in Founderson that maybe can penetrate the back line of Nautsa'mawt. Fresh legs, always a bonus, I'm sure.
Possibly. I was just writing down my 2 players of the match for TSS, and I was just starting to write down Nikki Verk as one of them. The other one, of course, Taylor Nekic at the back.
Was leaning now for TSS, SFU Red Leaf. Put out here by Claypool to the near side for Tomei. And a good read by Ma.
I mean, if you're picking your players of the game as well for Nautsa'mawt, I mean, you've got to go with Tomei for getting the goal there.
I also like Kramer's game.
Yeah, I'm like struggling to pick who the second one has been. They've had good performances, but there's no one that's maybe stood out the way that they have maybe on the TSS side.
Players of the game, of course, getting an AFTN-sponsored high five. No real gear to give away. So
no, we're maybe working that for future years. They'll be in our team of the week.
Just like the team of the season, right?
Yeah. I submitted our team of the season.
What's important is that we submitted it. That's all that matters. Remember writing mine from Florida. That was quite a turnaround as well.
I was like, we need this urgently.
But from a sunny final last year, League One BC, between varsity and the Whitecaps, to another sunny day here. It feels like we haven't missed a beat.
Yeah, it's like the season ended in glorious sunshine and it's starting in glorious sunshine. There is a wind you can see from the flags in the background, which is good for these players, I'm sure, after putting this shift in.
A week off for both these teams. Nautsa'mawt at home next weekend. They'll take on the Harborside.
Their home opener at Thunderbird Stadium.
And the Rovers taking on the Highlanders at 1:30. So we will give you a live scoring of that Harborside Nautsa'mawt game next Saturday. That one gets underway at 1 p.m. Should be a spectacle at Thunderbird Stadium. The Whitecaps as well playing their home opener tomorrow at Thunderbird Stadium against the Highlanders. And Unity at Altitude, and Altitude's home opener next Sunday as well. So some exciting games on tap over the next week or so. Altitude at Rivers, just like last year, by the way, as well, playing on the road for their first game up in the Thompson region.
You'll be able to watch all the games in full on BC Soccer's YouTube channel. Different clubs are having different setups for this year. I mentioned that there's the 8 featured games, but every game will be available to watch on the BC Soccer YouTube channel. Some of them will just be camera only, maybe video cameras, and some of them, like ourselves, will have live commentary. Highlanders, I believe, are also doing live streaming and commentary this year. I'll have the call for Altitude FC home games. They won't be streamed live, but they will be up within 24 hours, that they're hoping, with full commentary. Some of the other sides, we're not sure what their plans are yet, but every game you'll be able to see in some form.
All the Rovers games at home will be on YouTube in some capacity, whether it be on the one game they have against Altitude, on the TELUS as well, delay on demand, and live commentary as well with myself and Michael for 7 of the 8 games. Approaching the 90th minute now in a 1-0 Nautsa'mawt FC lead. Catalin Tolnai, a picture-perfect goal. What an inaugural goal for Nautsa'mawt it was for Tolnai from just outside the 18 on our least favorite left foot as well. You wouldn't know it on that strike for her.
No. And like Nautsa'mawt's done well in these last 5 minutes just to kill the game off as well. And they've got the ball exactly where they want it just now.
Doesn't look like any added time in the first half. We'll see in the second half here, probably a couple of minutes. But there was none of the first half. It ended fairly promptly. But what a first game here for both these teams this afternoon, and the men's game as well. If you're wanting some more League One action at 4 p.m. as the Nautsa'mawt men's side will take on the Rovers. Looking to carry on that great effort from a week and a half ago against Valor in the Canadian Championship without a number of key bodies as well this afternoon. So some fringe guys getting the opportunity to step up.
Yeah, anyone that watched that Valor game and then they're going to see the lineup for this game, they're going to be like, is this the same team? We will come to that when we get into the men's game at 4.
Tomei now, who deserved the goal for effort this afternoon for Nautsa'mawt. Ferreira down the touchline, watched by Mazzolini. Ball just stays in play in this near corner. Is like a rugby battle there for that ball. A bunch of players came together. And a throw in here for Nautsa'mawt.
Just seconds remaining for TSS to try and win this ball back. And Strychek, fantastic play for her to try and get something going here. Can TSS launch a last gasp thing? No, because they've just given away a foul.
Sure, Chelsea Hannelson will be watching the Highlanders game tomorrow, probably in person at Thunderbird at 12 p.m. against the Whitecaps. That's their opponent next week. Good to see the in-person, as good as the video is, the feedback. It's good to see in person and write down notes. Claypool out wide now. Peckinpah keeps it in well. And a late corner here for Nautsa'mawt.
And again, fantastic game management here from Nautsa'mawt, just running out the final minutes here. TSS just can't get hold of the ball to try and launch a last-ditch effort to try and get this equaliser.
Flicked out by Fennell on the far side, and a late throw in here for Vanessa Tomei. Ferreira over to take the throw now for Nautsa'mawt on that far side. A great game for Ferreira, who was on the left side of the pitch a lot. Now switching over to the right for Jesse Simon's team, and a misguided header there, and another late corner for Nautsa'mawt here in the late stages here, about the 94th minute. Tomei to take the corner here for Nautsa'mawt. Another short one for Peckinpah. Tomei now will collect that ball for Nautsa'mawt. Maybe a late chance here for the visitors. Vanessa Tomei lays it off. Sofia Ferreira strikes it in perfectly. And Nautsa'mawt double in their first game of the new name as well. And what a strike from Ferreira. Low to the corner of Hopenshield's goal. It's 2-0 late on.
We spoke about how much more advanced Ferreira was getting in this game, and you see the danger there. Tucked away in stoppage time, and that's going to be a 2-0 victory for Nautsa'mawt in the end. Hard to take for TSS. They showed some good flashes this afternoon, but you've got to say it's all about clinical finishes, and there's been a couple of them there from Nautsa'mawt. Sofia Ferreira, again, just building on a fantastic season that she had. What a strong team this is going to be this year.
Doesn't feel like 2-0 as well, the way the Rovers have really defended in this game for the full 90, so to speak.
Rovers will look back at a couple of the chances that they had there to about the midway point of this half. They just didn't get the power that they needed on their chances.
When you talk about taking Nikki Verk out of the game in about the 88th, is definitely gone the way of varsity here. They've had all the balls since then. Pachani with the touchdown, and there was Tomei on the turn.
Not quite sure where the referees find all this stoppage time from, but oh, there we go.
Full time here at Swangard, a 2-0 win in the first game of Nautsa'mawt FC. Goals from Catalan Tolnai in the 71st, Sofia Ferreira in the 94th, and a 2-0 clinical win here this afternoon for Jesse Simon's team, Michael.
Yeah, I think on the balance of play, it's deserved. We know how strong this Nautsa'mawt team is going to be this season. They've got off to a winning start. They had such a good regular season. They don't give goals up. As soon as they get the lead, it's tough for any team to try and get back into that. We saw that all last year with 8 clean sheets. As you said in the commentary, how many clean sheets are they going to get this year? It's built on a solid defensive footing with some deadly play and attack. I think Nautsa'mawt deserved that, and a great win to start off the Nautsa'mawt era for this side.
Now it's the time for the men's team to take the pitch in their first game under the Nautsa'mawt name. That one coming up at 4 p.m. against the Rovers. Your final, the first game this afternoon, the women's side, TSS Rovers, no score, Nautsa'mawt FC 2 behind goals from Tolnai and Ferreira.